I think just with gone all season, like we're trying to grow it, but we're not trying to put on a show at all. Like we're going to be who we are. If people like us, they like us. If they don't, they don't. Like we're going to have fun with it regardless of if we make a super cool video. Like getting to just travel and hunt with your buddies, and like we're all very fortunate to be able to do what we do, and like the trips we've been able to go on, like it's just, it doesn't even seem real to a certain point. It's just like, why do we get to go on trips like this? What did we do to deserve this? But it's also just fun to be able to go out and learn off of each other with stuff and see new places and make jokes and drive around in the car together. It's just a lot of fun. We're going to be who we are. We're going to be real to it. We're going to show the ups and the downs. We're going to show bad stuff, good stuff. Like we're just going to show it all.
Welcome to another episode of the HUNTXP Podcast. And yes, for the careful listeners, I did just say another episode because I have formally decided I'm done counting. So if you want to keep counting in the comments, just put the episode number that you think it is, because I have in some sense lost track. But I think we're over 20, 21, 22, somewhere in there. And yes, dear watcher on either Spotify or YouTube, we did have a wardrobe mishap and we're both wearing the same sweatshirt. So maybe it's not a mishap.
I was going to say that is no mishap, sir. That is no mishap.
No mishap. We love our Tiger Camo sweatshirt. So we're both wearing it tonight. Johnny's got the, that's like product number one. Like there will never be another sweatshirt like Johnny has. And then I've got the boring, like standard version that's actually really cool and you can hunt with. And I brought along some other things. So here is the gator.
Ooh, yep.
So I'm going to just, sorry listeners, but I'm going to just go ahead and get the turkey situation going here. Smash is on real good. Look at that. Isn't that sweet?
Dude, it is actually really sweet. Yeah.
Then we got a new Tiger Camo hat. So
All
it's
black.
got the all black print on it.
Yes,
Boom.
dude.
Look at this. Look at this. That's like
That
gobbler
is legit.
waiting to die right there.
That's legit,
Sorry
man.
for you listeners. It's legit. It's cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm not going to attempt to take that gator off. Maybe I will. Maybe it'll just randomly disappear as you're watching. Hey, all that stuff is on our store now. So if you're gearing up for turkey season, go on there. If you want to wear this, take pictures, send them to us, and we'll post them. We'll post them in the Tiger Camo if you wear it. So,
JD, you're wearing that for turkey season in Wisconsin, aren't you? Is that the plan?
actually, I don't know about Wisconsin, but oh my gosh.
AirPods falling out.
I'm falling apart here. I am probably going to wear this in Minnesota, actually, because I think I'm going to rock the leafy suit from North Mountain Gear in Wisconsin, because we're a little bit more run and gun there. Then I'm going to wear the M2 vest that we are testing in Wisconsin. So that's going to be my kit in Wisconsin. I'll have this around camp, though. Maybe throw it on for just for fun. In Minnesota, however, I am going to wear this because I'm going to be hunting from the ground / blind a little bit with my bow. I just purchased my archery tag. So in Minnesota, how it works is you can either opt to get an archery tag and then you have the whole season to fill your tag, or you choose 1 week. And they changed it up. It used to be like Wisconsin where you got a lottery for the week that you applied for what you wanted. But now you can pick, but you just get that 1 week. So for me, busy life, young kids, it just opens up a ton of options for me to go do. And I actually do most of my turkey hunting in Minnesota in like suburban hunting context. So it's a little bit nicer to the neighbors. And I found that it's easier to get permission in those contexts where you find turkeys with a bow. So I'm stoked for that. That's my approach.
That's awesome, man. That's cool.
That's what I'm doing.
Did you know that you can use AI to become a better hunter? Here's what you got to do. Our team at HUNTXP has built a custom AI. We call it Crockett. And it is the combination of the power of AI and the collective wisdom of hunters for many years mashed up together and put right in your pocket, right in the field where you can level up your hunting game. You can ask it things like, what's the best broadhead setup for my situation? What's the best day to hunt this week? All sorts of questions. You can take pictures of the snake you almost stepped on in South Dakota and say, is this a rattlesnake? That's something that actually happened to us. It's super fun. Our community's having a great time building this. We'd love for you to join in at huntxp.com. Join us.
Speaking of archery, our friends at the National Bowhunter Education Foundation were so jazzed about some of the content we did a few weeks ago, many episodes ago now, actually. And they're great. If you haven't discovered the National Bowhunter Education Foundation and their bow hunting classes, go check it out. Do you one better? You can actually get a discount with HUNTXP or HXP. You'll have to try both. Their archery course, there's like $10 off. So you can get the whole course for like $20. Isn't that sweet?
That's legit, man.
Legit. But they sent us a couple things a while back. They sent us this. So here's a quiz for you, Johnny.
Okay.
All right, you're shooting a bow. Obviously, the guillotine approach, we know where you're aiming. But where are you aiming if you're just using broadhead? This
So
could be a stump or something.
Guillotine approach as in knocking the head off.
You're knocking the head off if you're using a guillotine. I think that's a brand of... I've never used that before for archery. I've shot one archery tom before, but I did not use the guillotine. I just used my broadheads. But where are you aiming?
Further back, mid body, right?
Like right,
yep, like in there,
pop, right there. I think that's a good shot.
Yep,
I think you're right there. So this is, I think, for new. If you're someone who's like, hey, I want to try archery this year on a turkey, you could go the guillotine route and just chop the head off. Get one of those freaking helicopter of a broadhead. I've never seen one in person, but the videos are they're kind of intense.
Yeah.
But that would be fun. But if you're going to use, so I just use the broadheads I use for deer season, and they are Magnus Stingers that I run, and I've killed a turkey with it before. But the thing about it is, like, birds, watch this. They sent this. It's so cool. So much freaking fluff on this. If you can't see it or if you're just listening, sorry. But if you're watching the video, there's so much freaking fluff on that bird. And then this is all meat. In the vital area, you go next level, even smaller. And the vitals themselves, like, that's the heart right there. So if you go back to like this situation, like, you got to be careful in the way that you're shooting there. So just aim small, miss small with these things. I think the temptation is to try to find like a spot when they're and I think the temptation for me is to actually aim a little too low. And or a little too high. Like, if you just put it right here, there's so much fluff, you're going to not hit anything but feathers. So it's a small dot there. And if they're straight on, they don't have an image like that for us, but kind of right on the beard is what I've heard from the straight on. And then there's the 5-hole, you know, the old,
the old Texas hard shot.
Texas hard shot. That's what it is. I forgot what it was called for a second. The old Texas hard shot. We do have some bear seasons. So if you're going after a bear, I know that my brother Cody in Idaho, who's been on the podcast, is thinking about maybe doing bear hunting in Idaho. I know a lot of Western hunts or spring hunts. Of course, they sent us this bear. Look at this thing. It's awesome. Oh,
it's a beautiful model.
Yes. Anything in your experience? I know that you've primarily rifle hunted with bear, but anything to think of differently with archery shot on a bear?
So I've only, like you said, I've only shot a bear with a rifle, but I think the biggest difference, right, and it makes sense, but you're used to, like, as whitetail hunters, you can really follow that leg really easily, the contrast on the hide, but it's a little more difficult on a bear because there's less
Big time.
definition. They're all the same color, right? So and you can't see the contour lines as well. So I have heard, and the model supports this too, you really need to follow that leg up just to make sure that you are in a vital spot. Yep.
Yeah. One other thing I noticed from these models that they've sent too is this kind of like dead zone up here or above the lung or the shoulder is kind of elongated, and the fluff, the hair above the spine. Like if you're on a deer, their spine is like right on the top, right? There's maybe a little cushion up here on this, and I would say it's even less on an actual animal. But on a bear, you got a lot of fluff there, a lot of fluff up top. So, yeah, there you go.
Man, that's
Let us
awesome.
know.
They sent us that stuff. That's fantastic.
Thank you, guys. If you're in the turkey woods with a bow like I will be in Minnesota this year, or spring bear hunts, make sure you're looking at those vital maps. You can pick up the stuff we just showed you, all that on their website. Go check it out. National Bow Hunter Education Foundation. So, Johnny, I figured we have been forgetting shout outs, and man, are we our Instagram community is growing. It's so fun. I feel like, man, like, I don't know, like a couple weeks ago there was like 200 of us on there. Now we're over 500. So I'm not going to do all 250 shout outs of the new followers.
Well, you should.
I should. And roll. Here we go. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm going to just read some shout outs, and anybody in particular you want to shout out to, any followers that you noticed or comments that you noticed on Instagram or a YouTube that you wanted to say thank you to?
I do, and I should know the name. Maybe we can edit it in somehow. But on YouTube, there's been some more comments on the Kuyu video that I've been responding to, and I just like really fun. There was a guy who's up in Alaska, and hearing about his experience running that Kuyu stuff, I was like, man, that's really cool. And in his environment, I know he's really putting it to the test, and it's working really well for him. So that was fun to hear.
Yes, for sure. I got to find it. We got to give a shout out to that dude.
Probably should.
Let's see here.
And for those listening or watching, man, it's really actually fun for us. I think it's fun for us to respond. I love seeing the comments and being able to respond to you guys.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. Shout out to Nathan8418, who's in the Gulf Coast of Alaska, and he really loves Kuyu. I think that's the place to have some Kuyu, man.
That's
gotta have good gear up there, I imagine. Good stuff. Well, another shout out to Carlos6145, who had a good laugh over Johnny's sticker comment on our North Mountain Gear review. Don't you just love stickers?
Dude,
just send the stickers.
Just give us the stickers.
Give us the stickers. Can justify it. I at least can justify the purchase with my kids. I don't know about with my wife, but my kids are all about the stickers.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. Let's go. Yep. Built for hunting on YouTube. Love Kuyu, he says. I'm going to do some Instagram shout outs. Really appreciate when you guys follow along. It's fun to hear from you. So we got N Flork Outdoors. Sorry for butchering that name. One of these days I'm going to have Johnny read these so it's not so ridiculous, but then it might not be as entertaining. Ridge Runner K. Thanks for the follow, dude. It's everything outdoors. Thanks for the follow.
And it is everything.
It is everything outdoors.
Yes, it is.
Whitetail Obsessed. At least you're being honest about it, man. Appreciate it. Deegan Clockett. Thanks, man. Maine Woodland Guideser. Maine Woodland Guideser. Woodlands Guideser.
You're right. You need to always read them because it's highly entertaining. For me, at least.
I hope it's entertaining for you. You all can get a good laugh at my expense. EOD Outdoors. Grit City Archery. I like that. Grit City. Soccer coach Dunham.
I love it.
Another soccer coach, Johnny.
Yes.
Sweet. Timmy's hunting. I could start. Timmy.
Where's Timmy? Timmy's hunting.
He's hunting. _ hunting. Hunt Trap, Michigan. Sounds fun.
Yeah, it does.
Whitetail smokeless. I don't know what that means. Some sort of product, maybe. Whitetail smokeless. Hunting lover 2646. I think there's a lot more than 2,646 whitetail lovers out there, or hunting lovers out there, but I'm glad that guy. He's the 2,000.
I would like to know who I would like to know who the original hunting lover is on Instagram.
Right? Maybe they know each other. Let us know. Let's see. Luke Klein, 27. Appreciate it, dude. The Driven Hunter. I like that. He's got a sweet sunset pick. The Public Land Bucks. Yeah, man. The Public Land Bucks. Tyler Burhow.
Tyler.
Appreciate the follow. It's our guy. Thor Nelson. You are 100% from Minnesota or Wisconsin. That is such a Scandinavian name. Thor Nelson. If you're not, I'll be shocked. Colin Pat. Thanks, man. Josh Silva, 87. Outdoor marketing guy. Okay. William J. Kimball. An NB 5059. Johnny Nitro Knight.
What?
Johnny Nitro Knight.
My
That's the
goodness.
man.
Wow.
Abby from South Carolina. Maybe knows your sister. That's cool. South Carolina.
Hopefully.
Let's go.
Place.
It's not a lot of people down there. Not true. There's lots. Should we keep going? Smoking with Smokey. Smoking with Smokey. Thanks for the follow, Smoking with Smokey. Cody 7, Alex Brissett. Let's see here. Coaching, hunting, fishing. Sounds like right up our alley.
That's
Coaching,
right.
hunting, fishing. Aggressively average outdoors.
That is the best one ever.
Oh my gosh. I didn't notice that. This is so awesome.
That one in John Denver. Aggressively average outdoors. I would like to have that person on the pod.
Can you please come on the podcast? We're gonna tag you aggressively average outdoors.
That's an amazing
It's gonna be a time. Just for the handle. So good.
I think you need to stop there. You stop there.
Okay, we're done. That's it. We'll get the rest of you some other time. That's amazing. Very good stuff.
That's like Johnny, how are you at hunting? I'm aggressively average.
Oh, that's good. Aggressively average.
I'm so glad you read that name.
Oh, it's time. It's time for our friend Cole, who I didn't even give an introduction to. Shame on me. This whole episode. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining HUNTXP Podcast. We have on tonight Nicole Booth from THP Intern, from Gone All Season YouTube channel. We're super excited to hear more about that. And he is a content creator for Vortex. So lots to talk about. I'm sure we're going to get into his THP experience. I'm sure we're going to get into all that they're up to in Gone All Season Outdoors, which is some really fun content. And who knows what else. So we're excited to have him.
I think it's worth noting, too, he's a fellow Wisconsinite.
Hey-oh, that's right. Yeah.
Fellow Wisconsinite.
What more is there to say about a man? What more?
Only that they're aggressively average at the outdoors.
It's good stuff. Let's bring him on the pod. Well, Cole, you're here, man. Thanks for coming on the HUNTXP pod. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to be here. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. We're excited for wherever the heck this conversation goes. We can go a couple different places with this. So give the listeners a little introduction to yourself. I gave them a little bit before you jumped on, but tell us kind of the high level stuff, and then we've got questions about kind of how you got to where you.
Yeah, so I'm from Eastern Wisconsin. Grew up there. And then I guess I got into the hunting industry through the THP internship. I started filming my hunts in like 2019 with my friends who I now do Gone All Season with, which is our channel. So I did the internship with THP, and then I went to work full time with the Untamed for all of 2024. And now I'm currently at Vortex doing content for them.
Awesome.
So I've kind of been doing the same thing, just different places the last couple of years, but definitely enjoying it. I love it. I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do.
Did you grow up hunting, or did you get into it a little bit later? When did your hunting journey kind of start personally?
Yeah, I guess I probably started when I was like 10 with my dad. But I never was like a super hardcore hunter until after high school, really. I was really big into sports. So, I mean, I'd hunt on the weekends every now and then and just rifle hunt. I'd bow hunt maybe a couple times. And I really fell out of turkey hunting from like when I was like 13 until I was like 17. Just because I was always playing AAU basketball. So I never really had time for it. And then I went to college at UW Oshkosh. So I studied environmental sciences there. And then I played basketball too. So then it was also still hard to hunt.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
I could turkey hunt quite a bit because the season would end in March, but deer hunting was pretty tough for me. I'd usually get out 5 or 6 times a season. So I went from
tough.
Every now and then to every day really quick.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. How did you get from college to THP internship? And then where did you pick up the video work in that, the kind of love of being behind the camera and producing stuff? Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, I guess we would film hunts, but we really didn't know what we were doing. And I started watching THP around the COVID time frame. And that's kind of when I decided that I wanted to do the internship. But I didn't apply until 2023. So I was a junior in college. And at that time, I felt like I had enough experience behind the camera to have a decent resume to throw in. Still not very hopeful to get it, but I thought that I had a decent chance. So I applied when I was in college, actually playing basketball, and I had to like send in a 30-second video about myself. And one of the clips, or like my intro to that clip, was I had my buddy like film me after a basketball game. Like we were going through handshake lines, and I like introed my THP resume video, like me in my basketball uniform.
That's awesome.
Just to do something creative, something a little bit. Yeah. So then I ended up getting it and left school and went and did that in Iowa in 2023.
Can you tell me all right, so who reached out to you when you got it, and what was that interaction like? Like, talk me through like a little bit of like your emotion or whatever. Yeah.
So I kind of knew Jake through one of my college friends. He was from the same hometown. So I'd like met Jake like 1 or 2 times. I had an interview with Jake and Nick first, and then didn't hear back for like a month. And then I got a text from Ward when I was sitting in class. And I kind of was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he wanted to do an interview. So I interviewed with him. And then I went on a turkey hunting trip to Kansas with my buddy Brett and Mac. And then on my way back, they had me stop at their place down there. And I like kind of met Warb and Ted were there. And then I had a call with Zach the next day after that. And then I was at a lift for my basketball team at like 9 a.m. or something. And like I checked my phone halfway through it, and Warb said the internship is yours if you want it. And I literally,
wow.
And I just gave a peace sign and I said, I'm out of here. And I left the lift, and that was the end.
I feel like that was the end of your athletic career. I feel like when you got the it's yours if you want, you should have at least tried to max out your bench or something, because the adrenaline probably would have got you a new max.
Yeah, but it was kind of cool because I just bounced mid left, and I was just like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm leaving to go call my buddies.
Wow,
that's wild.
That's really cool, man. That's a cool story.
Yeah, it was super cool.
That's awesome. I'm just super curious, like watching the THP. How do they make decisions? This is the weird question, but like, you got a call from Jake and then Warb, and like, are they just a crew and they kind of do it by committee? Like, how do they hire people? Or is it like Warb and I'm forgetting his name right now, but
Greg?
Who's the other guy? Greg. How does that work? Or like, who was your boss? Or were they just your boss during the internship? How does that work?
Kind of just whoever I was with, I guess. But I mean, I never really felt like they were my boss. It wasn't like that type of feeling, I guess. But I don't really know. I think they all kind of vote on, like, they get it down and they all kind of vote from what I've heard. I've never really asked, but I think Ward kind of leads the charge on picking people to interview, because I think it's a lot of applications to go through. Which
Yeah,
pretty
for sure.
From what Ted says. I know Ted's had to do it a couple times, and he's like, it's just so much to go through.
Well, turns out you got to do your interview right after a basketball game to have any luck of success. Just kidding.
Yeah.
That's great, dude. So you're just like, peace out. I'm out of here. Did you then just leave college and start the internship?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I left college. And I was kind of would have went back to college. I guess it was kind of going to be like, I'm going to do it. If this is what I want to do, then hopefully I can pursue it. If not, then I'd go back to school. And then I guess it kind of just led from that into the Untamed, because they're friends with THP and they were looking for somebody, and it kind of was just the right fit. So then I ended up doing that rather than going back to school. And obviously school is good, but I've learned way more just being in the field, learning from other people, just because it's something I'm super passionate about and love it. So there was nothing that I could really learn in school to do what I do now.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I would love to hear a story from your THP experience, one that you find yourself telling the most, whether it's an off-camera moment or a hunt that really stands out to you as like, gosh, this is when I went from, interested in this to like, that was the real deal.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I guess probably like the one where it was just like, holy crap, was we were in North Dakota. I was hunting with Ted, and it was Ted, Greg, Nick, and Jake were there. And we'd been hunting some public and having some close calls. And then we ended up getting permission to some private just from meeting local people. People are super nice out there. And we just went in blind and set up in like fence line. And we were kind of just tucked in some weeds. Like, it didn't feel like we had that much cover. But we had seen, Nick and Jake had seen deer in that area. And we were kind of just sitting there. Me and Ted were shooting the shit and look over. And this big buck is just walking dead at us. And he just came out of the cattail. It was just a cattail slough and a bean field. There was no trees. And he literally was just walking at us. And we're like, holy crap. And he's on. So we're just sitting on our side of the fence. He's on the neighbors at that point. And we weren't calling anything. We just ended up setting up there. And he jumps the fence like 15 yards in front of us. And as he's jumping it, Ted draws back. And I'm just sitting on my butt in the weeds. Ted draws on him and he like jumps the fence. And there's like this clump of grass weeds that is just in front of Ted that we didn't knock down, because he was like, I'll leave that there so I can draw behind it if one comes out or anything like that. And this deer jumps and he like takes a step through and he stops and he puts his head down and he just starts eating. And he's standing right behind that one clump of grass. And it's dead calm. There's no wind, like rare day out there. It's always windy out there. And Ted held his draw. I think it's in the video. I think he held it for 5 minutes, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
And finally, he just couldn't hold it anymore. And he lets down, and the deer hadn't taken a step for 5 minutes. And he lets down, and the deer turns and just is walking right at us. And he walks up to us, and he gets to, we think, between 3 to 4 yards.
Whoa.
And he just is like looking on, towering over the top of us, and you can like hear him breathing. And it's like a pretty big 8-pointer. Like one of the biggest, it was the biggest deer I'd ever been in range of at that point in my life. And he like circled us at 3 yards, and he never like really picked us off until he got like right to my left, and he was behind us, and he must have like been able to see the camera screen or something. And then he put it off. But it was just like,
oh my God,
total heartbreak. But it was just like hunting on the ground. And that was like my best encounter I'd ever had on the ground with a bow. And I'm just like, holy crap, that was unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was probably the one that I tell the most, just because obviously we didn't get them, but it was by far the coolest encounter of the fall.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And
so if you haven't watched that video, that's a cool video to watch.
Ted holding a draw for 5 minutes. You know, he did not bounce out of his weightlifting session early like you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that's impressive.
No,
5
it was
minutes, man.
unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Like,
Yeah.
and then of course, as soon as he lets down, it turns and walks into the where he could have shot the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
The big ones always find a way, it seems.
Yeah. Which of the trips that you took with them, like which state did you enjoy the most hunting in? Which state? Which trip?
I mean, all of them are fun. I got to hunt in Oklahoma, which was super cool. We were there for 12, 13 days. And we were on deer the whole time and just never fell into the right spot. But it was just so much fun to be able to hunt on the ground like that. And had a buck at 10 yards and my release broke. So that is
huge.
We got on this buck right away and Ted was filming me and I crawled, like I went out in front of Ted and he was on a doe and I was just crawling in grass that was probably maybe 2 feet tall. So if I was on my belly, you couldn't see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting to like 50 yards and I look up and I see him and I go down and I touch my release and I like put it on and I stopped there for a second and I decided I was going to go another 10, 15 to cut it again. And as I'm doing that, he starts coming towards me. I don't know if he saw me and thought I was another deer or what. And I peek my head up then and he's at like 20 yards and he's closing and I go to clip on and draw back and rise up and my trigger's gone.
I remember that episode. That is crazy. One thing I really appreciate about you guys is that THP and you were a part of that. Like, you show the real things that like can happen when you're hunting. It's not like a canned episode that would be produced. Like, I'm not going to name any names, but like the bigger ones you see on TV, right? Like, it's always a perfectly executed hunt. That's how it goes. But this is real stuff that actually happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy that at that point in the hunt, it just decides to fall off. I'd been hunting for like 8 days. It could have done that at any point.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
You've mentioned a couple stories of being on the ground. And I think for hunters who grow up in Wisconsin like we did, hunt from tree stands, presumably with the rifle, that's a new and exciting experience. So I'm curious if you had done that much before THP, and then what you learned from watching those guys hunt from the ground, and if you've gotten to put what you've learned into practice, or what did you learn about how to hunt from the ground that's has contributed to their success?
Yeah, I did hunt on the ground some before then, just from watching them and Whitetail Adrenaline, but I never really hunted with anybody that was really, I guess, knowledgeable or had a lot of experience with it. It was kind of just trial by error. And I guess I fell in love with it really fast, just the encounters and how much you can move around and and I think you can get away with a lot more with a deer than you think if you have the right conditions. And a lot of it is wind, shade is a big thing. But really the wind is like probably the number one factor in like effectively stalking deer from what I've found. And I think just knowing and being able to read a deer's like demeanor is also a big like a lot of the time in a bed, it seems the whitetails like sometimes they aren't really paying attention. Versus mule deers, when I hunted with Zach, like they're really good in their bed. They're always on. They can hear way better, I think, from what we've determined.
Yeah.
But also, I think you just have to be aggressive. And I think like I stalked a buck in West Virginia this year, and ended up killing him. And we were on him for 7 hours, I think, and he bedded 5 different times. And me and Mac, who was filming me, I think we were within 30 within his bed 3 times and just couldn't get a shot until the final one. But like we were moving back and forth on that deer and he'd see us, but he if we were in the right spot or had enough cover, like he didn't really know I don't know if he thinks we're deer or what. But a lot of it is just learning how to move on deer and just keeping your head low, because that's what they're going to pick out is your head and your shoulders. So I actually built a ghillie hat this year, Josh, that actually like is kind of like just a long hair like Zach has. with like burlap stuff, and
that's why he grows his hair out.
Yeah, it actually definitely helps. There's no way, like,
yeah,
it
never
definitely
thought about
does.
that. That's wild. I just got to say, stalking a deer in West Virginia has got to be infinitely harder than stalking a deer in North Dakota or a plain state, because you can, scope those things up. You can watch them bed down. You can make a play with terrain. In West Virginia, dude, that's like,
yeah.
I mean, what kind of terrain were you in that you were stalking a deer in West Virginia?
It was on a reclaimed coal mine. So like they coal mine it and then they reclaim it and plant it with like clover and some trees. So it was like,
got it.
And then it was in like a valley fill, which is like they make benches that are 10 yards wide every 30 yards. So like it was, I think the valley field we were hunting was maybe like 5 or 6 years old. So it was decently thick. But if you have the right conditions, like you can get on those benches and stay on the back side of them. And if they're bedded on the one below you, you can move back and forth on them pretty easily.
Brilliant.
But that wind was a little bit inconsistent. It kept swirling. And at one point I actually dropped a milkweed and it literally flew down between his antlers. And I was just like, I don't know how he's not smelling us right now. We didn't do it. We don't do scent control. We don't do any of that. But
that's wild.
It's literally just been going over his head in that terrain or something.
It's kind of interesting, like your experience with THP, and then you go into this internship with the Untamed, and they like to do a lot of similar things. I've followed the Untamed for a while now too, and those coal mines, man, they love to put the stock on and animals too. So you had a really cool experience, like kind of honing your skills doing that with THP, and then you got to transition into the Untamed. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about like how are those experiences working with each group? Similar? How are they different? Just talk through a little bit of that if you can.
Yeah, I guess I feel like their personalities are all pretty similar. Like they all are, obviously they're friends with each other. We're all kind of friends. Like we all hang out at NWTF together and go to each other's Airbnb. So like it wasn't like a huge transition in like personality. And like Josh and Zach and Jay, like I became really good friends with them very quickly. So I guess I kind of went from like a THP more so like a learning, trying to like soak in everything I could. I was filming a lot, was doing some editing, but I didn't really ever get to do like full length videos by myself. But through THP, like I got to see what it takes to like build a story when you're filming. And I know everybody talks about the story, but just getting to hunt with like Zach and Ted and Jake and Warb, like all of them have a little bit different style that they like to film. So you kind of get tips from each of them. And then you kind of just create your own style with it. And like just being creative with the camera, like it just takes like a mind, like you have to be thinking about your edit when you're filming. But like if you're doing an interview and somebody talks about something certain, make sure you have a shot of that afterwards. Like you got to listen to what they're saying in the interview. And then you have to be able to take that interview and flow it into the hunt with cutaways and B-roll of other stuff. So it was really cool to learn with them. And then going from that to the Untamed and then just being able to use everything that I've learned to produce those videos, but then kind of put my own spin, kind of the Untamed spin on it was super cool. And Josh was super cool about just giving me the creative freedom to kind of do the videos my style, which I really appreciated. And I think capturing the personalities is like one of my favorite things about them and THP. Like Josh is such a character. Like
absolutely.
You just got to have the camera going. You're riding on the 4-wheeler, film him. Like you never know what he's gonna say. You never know anything. I think that obviously that's why people watch both of those channels. Just the personality. And I guess when I was with the Untamed, I got to hunt a little bit more, which was also cool. And being able to hunt West Virginia, and myself and Mac. So Mac is with Gone All Season with me.
Yeah.
So he's one of the co-founders of that, and he was the intern with the Untamed this year.
Gotcha.
Super cool to have him down there with me. And like we ended up going to South Dakota because he drew a tag and ended up shooting a deer at like 3 yards on the ground in the corn. So that's a pretty cool one if you haven't watched that one yet.
We'll link it in the show notes for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Well, maybe it's a good time to transition into your gone all season stuff. I was telling JD earlier, I've seen the thumbnail for the episode you just talked about, but I've only watched a couple, and I rewatched today one of your earlier ones, I think, but your $3 in a day in Wisconsin. And I watched that naturally because it's Wisconsin. But it's a fun one because I like, first of all, the opening scene of whoever is that Mac laying in the bed and you're Brett. Okay. That opening scene got me laughing anyway. But no, I just thought that was it was a cool, the way I felt watching it was like, these are just three really good buds doing what they like to do, and they're just gonna try to film it. And that resonated with me. Of like, I started self-filming this year because JD was like, "Hey, we should try to do something." And I am like, no means professional or anything. I just had this little handy cam and I shot some footage or whatever, and I happened to shoot a deer. But the whole sentiment is like, it doesn't seem like you were capturing it for the world, but you're capturing it so like you can remember this with your buds. And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that video is, it's probably my favorite video ever. And like, we were so green to editing. Like, I remember not even have my computer. I had like a MacBook Air, and I would have to exit out of Premiere like every 25 minutes because it would crash or freeze. I didn't have a computer high enough to like process Adobe at that point. And the editing on it is so rough, but it's just like so raw. And like, just like, and none of the bucks we shot were big, but it was just like so cool because we hadn't shot very many deer with our bows, and we doing it all together, and we got it on camera, which was a miracle for us because before that we'd always screw it up or wouldn't have the camera on. And I always tell people, like, if you want to do it, just do it. It doesn't have to be for the world, but having that to show other people or show your kids one day, like, that stuff is just unbeatable.
I think that's what I really appreciated about it, though. Like, you could feel that in it. It was like, these are just some guys who really love to hang out and hunt together, and they're just doing this for themselves.
Yeah.
But you did share it with us, and I thank you for sharing it with us because it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of my favorites too.
Any other good ones from the gone all season? Good stories that you like to tell, or ones you want to point out?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. We have a lot of fun when we're doing it. I think just with gone all season, like, we're trying to grow it, but we're not trying to put on a show at all. Like, we're going to be who we are. If people like us, they like us. If they don't, they don't. Like, we're going to have fun with it, regardless of if we make a super cool video, like getting to just travel and hunt with your buddies. And like, just myself and Mac and Brett was the intern with THP this year. And like, so just getting to like, we're all very fortunate to be able to do what we do. And like, the trips we've been able to go on, like, it's just, it doesn't even seem real to a certain point. It's just like, why do we get to go on trips like this? What did we do to deserve this? But it's also just fun to be able to go out and learn off of each other with stuff and see new places and make jokes and drive around in the car together. It's just a lot of fun. And I think that's what I think gone all season is kind of the focus. Like, we're going to be who we are. We're going to be real to it. We're going to show the ups and the downs. We're going to show bad stuff, good stuff. Like, we're just going to show it all.
Love it, dude. I don't know what you think about this, but the more that I've been having these conversations about hunting and learning other people's hunting stories, there's kind of this theme developing where like people had formative hunting experiences in deer camp or something to that effect, or turkey camp. And so whether it was their like preteen or teenage years, and most of their early hunting experience was around community, was around connection with other guys or some sort of community. And almost to a T, I feel like I hear about stories of the kind of disintegration of that sort of experience of deer camps, that kind of like people come apart and they don't do it again, or like the uncle doesn't own the land anymore or something like that. And I don't know what it is. I just think that there is an appetite for whatever our generation's version of that becomes, whether it ends up us taking our kids out or or you guys, having fun as friends and having experiences together. I think this generation of hunters needs to figure out what our deer camp is like. And I think that's what's so compelling about what you guys do with God All Season is like you help the subscriber, people who are watching your stuff, kind of enter into your guys' experience and feel like they're there because of your editing and filming skills, which is quite a gift. Particularly, I know we have listeners who, and I meet people all the time in the hunting community that feel isolated. They're like, I'm getting into this. My family never taught me how to do this, or they don't do it anymore. I really want to hunt, but I have no one to hunt with. And I feel like THP, what you guys are doing, kind of create that community until people can find it. Is that,
Yeah.
Are you experiencing that too?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, that's our whole thing. And like, I talk about it all the time with people that I meet is like, I like to hunt. Like, don't get me wrong, but like the reason I love hunting is to hang out with people and like to spend time with people. Like, I haven't went hunting by myself since I can't even remember the last time I went hunting by myself. Like, I'm always with somebody. Like when we hunt up by Brett's house, he has a farm up there, and we hunt together. Like, we could go sit different stands and like probably have a better chance of getting one, but we're just gonna go hunt together. Like, neither of us care who shoots it, but
That's good.
I'd rather just go hang out with my friend in the woods and see him shoot one. And a lot of times, like, we shoot deer like that aren't the biggest, but it's just like for the experience and like being with your buddy for one it's just unmatched. Like, I know Brett shot like a half rack little buck this year in West Virginia, and it was me and Brett and Mac, and we were all there together, and we'd hunted like 7 days in a row, and we're super close to a really, really big one. And then he ended up shooting that one, and we were just absolutely fired up about it. Just
that's awesome.
To hunt together and be there all at the same time was just super cool. And I think people just need to continue to hunt together and encourage each other and support each other. And like, it doesn't matter what deer you shoot or how big it is. Like, if you have personal enjoyment with your friends, then that you should shoot that deer. Like, don't listen to what anybody else has to say. You make your experience what you want it to be.
That's great. It reminds me, like, part of what got me to HUNTXP, to this podcast, and to take this a little bit more seriously is I watched THP, or it sounds like around the same time you did. I discovered it. A friend was like, I was getting back into hunting, and a friend's like, do you know the hunting public? I'm like, no. And then like 50 hours later, I'm like, yes, I do. But they and content like you put out totally opened a new way of looking at hunting. I remember when me and this guy who got me into THP decided to plan a rifle hunt in Minnesota, go to an oak island on public land we'd never been to before, grab a canoe, go down there, drag our wives and family up to an Airbnb, and not sit in different places, but sit in one place together. And he shot this gnarly 11 point. And we're just like, what the heck just happened? We just did that. Like, we just lived what we learned, and that I'll never forget that experience. And if I would have gone and done that myself, I would have been in the tree like, yes, I still would have had that. It doesn't, the memories don't solidify in the same way if you're alone, So, it's great, man.
Yeah. I remember shooting a turkey a couple years ago by myself. I think it might've been during COVID. And that was the first one I'd shot by myself. And like, I didn't know what to do. Like, I was, I don't know. Like, where's my buddy to high five? Yeah.
You start calling people. That's what you do.
You
start sending pictures. You start FaceTiming people. That's what you do. Yeah. Yeah. That's what Johnny was doing when he shot his bucks this year. He was like, that's true. BBD.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really funny you say that though, JD, that the hunts, I feel like I mean, I've been fortunate. Like, I've harvested some nice deer in my lifetime and some elk and like lots of species of animals. But the hunts that I think of that stick out the most are the ones where I'm with someone. And I hunt a lot with my cousin. And in particular, we had the craziest elk hunt one time, and I didn't even pull the trigger. I was just with him. And that's like one of my favorite hunts of all time. I loved it. It was just incredible. And so it's about that community. It's about sharing it with someone else. I get to share it with my boys now, which is really fun. I'm in the woods with them all the time, and to experience their joy when they shot their first turkeys last year. And my son shot a little 3-pointer this year, and he was just jacked. So just fun stuff like that. It's fun to be with someone.
Yeah, the youth are so much fun to take out. Like the youth turkey hunt is my favorite 2 days
It's
of the year.
amazing.
It is the best. I've been able to take my brother out the last 4 years, and like that's just so much fun. Like I remember every single moment of those. Like just and being able to see people or being able to see kids enjoy it and like be out in the woods is just unmatched. I think it's the best thing ever for them.
It's pretty sweet. What do you guys got in the pipeline for Gone All Season? What are you guys excited about, either turkey or next fall, that you got
So
in the works?
We're going to hunt a lot of Wisconsin, obviously. So there's 6 of us that do it together. So myself and then Mac and Brett. Mac is still working for the Untamed, helping them through the spring, making some videos for them. So he's probably going to be mostly down in West Virginia traveling with them. And then Brett's in Wisconsin, and then our buddy Luke does it with us, Luke Spank, and then Mac's little brother Eddie, and one of our other buddy Cade. So we're going to hunt a lot of Wisconsin, but then we're also going to do Minnesota. We're going to do a Minnesota turkey camp. And then I'm going to go out west with Roy. I think we're going to hunt either Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, or New Mexico. We're still trying to figure that out. I was probably going to give him a call tomorrow and try to iron it out, but I think we're going to go out there and maybe meet up with Zach or some of those guys. So that's probably what I'm planning to do this year. Maybe I'll do Michigan too. I've always wanted to do that. Just haven't been able to squeeze it in yet, but kind of what the spring looks like for us. I know Brett's he was in Mississippi with THP a couple of weeks ago, and he's headed out to South Carolina tomorrow. So he's going to be traveling quite a bit too. And then for the fall, hopefully Brett and I will draw antelope tags for archery, which will be super fun to stalk antelope. I'm sure it'll be frustrating, but something we haven't done before. And I'm sure they'll make for super good videos. And then I think I'm going to do it in Montana with a couple buddies as well. And then then deer hunt Wisconsin. I haven't deer hunted here much the last 2 years, so I'm excited to get back after it.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Cole, what are you interested in doing career-wise? Like, do you want to keep pressing into the creative and the outdoor industry? What would be the ideal 10 years from now or 5 years from now for you?
Yeah, I guess I would say that hopefully in 10 years, Gone All Season would be at a point where we could hopefully do it full time. Obviously, that's our goal. I'm going to continue I love my job at Vortex. It's a lot of fun, but also with that, like, I also am able to do more Gone All Season than I was when I was working with the Untamed, which is nice. So I can kind of spend a lot of my weekends and my evenings doing stuff for Gone All Season. I know we've talked about it and we want to continue to grow it as fast as we can because we all love doing it. We all love filming. We all love producing it. And now having 3 guys that can edit and film is a lot.
It's pretty awesome.
I like that. Yeah. The editing part kind of started with me and Mac, and then Brett got into it, and the other guys are starting to get into it now too. So I think the more we get those other guys into it, the more content we'll be able to produce. I'd say in 10 years, we want to be doing Gone All Season full time is the goal. But if that doesn't happen, I will be doing some sort of creative content for somebody. This is probably what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, I'd imagine.
That's awesome, man.
Well, you're very good at it. Yeah.
You're very good at it. I was going to say, if you're watching or listening and not subscribed to Gone All Season, help our man out here. Yeah. Go subscribe. Buy the swag. Do all the things. Help him out. That sounds like a cool dream, dude. We want to see that happen.
Appreciate it.
That's good. Any more questions, Johnny?
I'm good. This has been awesome. It's been awesome to chat with you, Cole.
It's been a blast. Anything else you want to tell us about or that our listeners should know about? Like where else to find you? Anything else you're up to?
Yeah, I guess we're just trying to post 1 video a week. So if you guys turn on your notifications, then you can stay up to date on that stuff. But yeah, I guess if you're listening to this and you're trying to get into content, just keep after it. The best thing you can do is just stay persistent with it because it's frustrating. Learning to edit is frustrating. Learning to run some cameras is frustrating, but it's all worth it. You figure it out eventually. So
Great stuff, dude.
yeah, for sure.
That's good. Cole, thanks for being here, man. This was a blast.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was awesome.
A lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Behind the scenes bonus banter.
Bring him on.
All right, man. Let me text him.
That is the best handle.
That's so great.
Aggressively average outdoors.
That reminds me of like have you heard of the okayest hunter?
Yeah.
He puts out a bunch of stuff. We should ask him on the pod. That'd be fun.
Get him and the aggressively average outdoorsman.
Yeah. I gotta find Cole here. Boo. Come on the pod.
So did he go to Florida with Roy, or is Roy meeting up with him in Wisconsin? Is that it?
I think the latter, from what I could tell.
I think you're right.
But I don't know who was in Wisconsin with them.
Oh, he's a quick texter. Here he is.
Sounds good. He's probably ready to rock. You got to give me feedback if I'm ever talking too much in the intro.
No, man, you're good.
I think it's my like experience being on stage in different places. Like Cole.
Hey, Cole.
How's it going?
They're both wearing the same shirt. Nice.
JD
We did.
is aggressively self-conscious about me wearing the same sweatshirt as him today.
I am 20. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, those are sweet. I like that.
We can hook you up with one if you want.
Yeah.
Some tiger camo. So,
yeah.
Well, this is fun, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Where are you guys out of and from, I guess?
Great question. Johnny, why don't you go?
So I'm from Ashland, Wisconsin, right on Lake Superior. JD also was raised in Ashland, Wisconsin, but now he's in the Twin Cities. So that's where we're out of.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I live just on the west side of Madison now.
Nice.
So I just moved here in January when I started at Vortex.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're originally from Wisconsin, is that correct?
Yeah, I grew up in Plymouth, which is over by Sheboygan.
Oh my gosh. So can I just do this real quick?
Yeah.
So my wife's from Sheboygan Falls, okay?
Really?
And I coach the Ashland girls soccer team, and Plymouth beat us 2-1 a couple of years ago in the state semifinals. And they were like rivals of Rachel, my wife's growing up. So she's like, oh, it hurt me so bad when you guys lost to Plymouth. I'm like, well, I'm the coach, and it really hurt me when we lost to them too. But
do you remember what year that was?
Let's see. We played them in 2021.
Okay, so you would have played my sister.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they've just been on a tear since. Like they
they're
won state last year and the year prior, I believe. So I know their coach pretty well. Just the coaching community is pretty small.
Yeah.
But that's awesome that I coached against your sister. You have to say, hey, I talked to this guy that coached the team you beat in the state semis. Yeah,
my oldest sister. She's two years younger than me. She would have been on the team then. She graduated in 22, and then I have another sister that's a senior on the team right now.
So like last year, I went and watched her at state because we lost in the sectional semi, and I went down and watched them beat Rice Lake. But yeah, that's awesome.
I get into the games, like they're fun. I never was I wasn't a soccer player or anything, and I never really watched, but they're fun to watch.
So were you at the state tournament in 2021?
Yeah. Dude,
so yeah, you and I have met kind of.
Yeah.
You were like, that coach over there sucks. Boo! You were probably booing me.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. I deserved it.
Dude, Johnny's a really good coach. We were just talking beforehand about how much success he's had with his team. He's coached 18 years now, and you said they've been to state 5 times it's a small school.
I've been the head coach for 12, and this is my 12th season as the head coach. But yeah, we don't need to talk about coaching.
Very cool. I actually just got done playing a men's league basketball game with a bunch of dudes from Sheboygan Falls. So
there you go.
That's awesome. Sheboygan Falls.
Yeah.
And Plymouth.
That's good. I love the camo sweatshirt lineup we've got going. This is going to be an awesome visual. So it's good. Any more questions you have about us, or any more things you want?
I just want to know when you guys started this. What started it?
Yeah,
you started it
not too long ago. Yeah, so we basically October we started the podcast. We've been friends for a long time. Hunted together in high school. Known each other for a long time. I had done some outdoor writing for a publication called Gear Junkie, if you've heard of that, and then dabbled in self-filming hunts or just bringing the camera along for turkey camp and different things like that, and produced some of that stuff in previous years just for fun. And mostly Johnny and I, but my brothers as well, kind of were like, let's just try. Let's put it under the moniker of HUNTXP, because I had gotten that URL. And so Johnny had a great season in the whitetail woods this year, and we just started putting content out. And so this is just really a grand experiment. We're trying to figure out how to have more fun with our hobby and have more experiences, together and with other people. And it's been a blast, dude, meeting people in the industry, people that like yourself, whose content we've watched, and get to kind of break down hunts, talk tactics, and I feel like we're the biggest beneficiaries. I mean, like I've learned so much about hunting just from the conversations we've had. I mean, I feel like I became a better hunter every minute that we spent with John Eberhardt. That was like insane. So like conversations like that, even with Roy, learned a ton about turkey hunting too with him. So we're having a blast, but we're moonlighting this like this is just for fun right now. We'll see if it goes anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've listened to several of them now after you guys reached out, and I think they're fun. They're cool to listen to. You guys seem
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's it seems like some podcasts can kind of be a little unnatural and a little bit forced. And I mean, it's pretty easy to listen to you guys talk to people. So
that is high praise. Thanks, Cole. Appreciate that.
High praise, dude. Yeah. We actually just enjoy it a ton.
We do. I mean, to be quite honest, it's like, JD's talking about like the marketing side and all that and everything. And I'm like, man, I just really enjoy talking to other dudes and people who like to hunt. It's just super fun.
Yeah, it's super cool to just meet all the people in the industry just in the last 2.5 years, really, that I've been in it. It's just been like so many good people that I've met from all walks of life, but hunting brings us all together, and it's pretty cool to see where everybody comes from, really.
Hey there, thanks for watching this video. I'm JD, founder and crew member of the HUNTXP team. We're so grateful that you took time to watch this video, and hopefully it's helping you level up your hunting game. That's what we in our community is all about, and we want to invite you into this growing community of hunters. It's all about leveling up each other's hunting game. So the first thing you can do is like and subscribe, but even more than that, we got some fun things going on over at our website, huntxp.com. We'd love for you to join our community there and stay connected with what we're doing, what we're working on, and we'd love to hear about what you're after. So thank you for watching this video. We'll see you next time.